Hey, welcome to Akarita, Me in the Latter Days. Today we're going to be talking about Daniel chapter 8 and specifically the ram and the goat. And this is a topic that we've discussed in other videos, but I want to take the time to make separate, smaller, more focused videos on each of these topics to make it easier for people to find these videos. There's so much going on in the prophecies of Daniel that making one video about Daniel makes it hard for people to find these more narrow focused topics. So I want to help people understand Daniel's prophecies better. And so we're going to make some smaller, more focused videos that will lead people into the larger video that I did called Discerning Daniel a couple months ago. If you haven't already seen that video, I encourage you to watch that at the end of this video. I'll link to it in the video description below. So the topic of the video that we're going to talk about today is Daniel chapter 8, and specifically the conflict between the ram and the goat. This is very, very timely. This is very, very, very important that we understand. Most people do not understand Daniel's prophecies correctly because they're trying to view them as being fulfilled progressively over thousands of years, with fulfillment coming through different kingdoms in different places of the world at different times. And this is incorrect. Remember that we're told over and over again that the prophecies of Daniel pertain to the time of the end. So why are we so focused on past fulfillment when there's such an emphasis on Daniel being given insight into what is going to take place in the latter days? We have to understand Daniel's prophecies are interconnected. They are not disconnected. Yes, he's seeing a prophecy of an image, a great image with 4 parts. Yes, he's seeing a prophecy of 4 beasts in chapter 7. By the way, the image prophecy is in chapter 2. Yes, he's seeing a vision of a horn that is broken into 4 smaller horns, 4 individual horns in chapter 8. Yes, we're being given all of these different visions, and they seem to be disconnected on the surface. But when we dig deeper, we realize, wait a minute, there are details that connect all of these prophecies. There are details that tell us that these prophecies are in reality transparency slides that are simply describing the same course of events, the same series of events in the last days, in different language, in different pictures. So why do I say that this conflict between the ram and the goat is so important? And who are the ram and the goat according to Daniel? Daniel tells us that this ram has 2 horns, and the 2 horns are the king of Media and Persia, Madai and Paras in Hebrew. And we're told that, by the way, this is modern day Iran. We're told that this ram will become great. It wasn't previously great, but it's going to become great. And it will exert its force. It will show itself to be an unstoppable power. Daniel tells us that this beast, no other kingdom can stand before it, can stop it. It's unstoppable. And yet, we see that a goat comes onto the scene in Daniel chapter 8. And despite the fact that this ram, Daniel says, is unstoppable and no other beast can stand in its face before it, this goat comes from the west. From the west. The goat, Daniel tells us, is the kingdom of Yavan. This is often translated as Greece, but the Hebrew says it's the kingdom of Yavan. You can trace Yavan all the way back to Daniel chapter 10. So this kingdom comes from the west without touching the surface of the earth, and it says it comes at the ram with incredible fury and tramples the ram, completely destroys the ram. Remember, this ram is unstoppable. Yet here comes this goat from the west and just makes, it's like it's a game, just makes child's play out of it. Utterly destroys the ram, breaks its horns. Again, these prophecies are talking about the last days. These things have not been fulfilled yet. So we have a very, very clear picture. This is important. I hope that you're tracking with me. This may be a video that you need to watch a few times to really grasp all of the details, but remember that these prophecies pertain to a time of the end. Remember who the ram represents. Remember what we're looking for to take place. It's the very first thing. Think of Daniel's prophecies as a long, long string of dominoes. We can boil all of these dominoes down to one single thing that we need to be watching for, and it starts right here in chapter 8 with the ram. So if the ram is so great and this goat comes from the west and utterly destroys it like it's nothing, then we can assume that this kingdom of Yavan, the goat, is an immensely powerful and incredibly well-established military might, military power. Again, it comes from the west. But Daniel gives us a peculiar detail later on in the chapter, because remember that the goat, we're told in verse 8, the goat has a notable horn between its eyes, and the horn is the first king of the kingdom of Yavan. So how is it possible that this kingdom is so well established and has so much power and has so much military might that where no other kingdom can stop the ram, the goat just comes from the west and does it like it's nothing? How is it possible for this kingdom to be a startup kingdom? It can't be a startup kingdom. It's an already well-established kingdom. But Daniel says that the horn between the eyes of this goat, this kingdom, is its first king. This is a critically important detail. This is in essence, a very well-established kingdom that is a military powerhouse that is located in the west, that has never had a king before. But Daniel tells us that it's going to have a king. And Daniel tells us that after this conflict between the ram and the goat takes place, this first king and his kingdom is going to be broken. And out of it will come 4 new ones. This kingdom is going to be divided into 4. We back up to chapter 7 and we see an additional description, a deeper description of these 4 kingdoms that are going to come out of this powerhouse kingdom that was broken in Daniel chapter 8. So we're going to stop there for today. Again, we want to handle each of these topics in smaller bite-sized videos so that we're able to better hone in on the details. And I want to encourage everyone to go back and watch the Discerning Daniel video that was posted a few months ago, which kind of ties everything together. Daniel is so important. Very few people are taking the time to study Daniel and to look at Daniel with fresh lenses. Everybody is focused on listening to prophecy gurus who are just pulling stuff from commentaries, whether that's rabbinic or Christian commentaries. And remember, we're told in the book of Daniel several times, seal up the words of this book, Daniel, because they pertain to a time of the end. It shouldn't come as any surprise. There are curveballs thrown into the mix in Daniel to keep people guessing. It shouldn't come as any surprise that the proper understanding of Daniel and his prophecies and his visions is not something that's going to be widely available until the last days. Think of it in terms of the phrase a need to know basis. It's not time for these things, so you don't need to know. But today, we're undeniably in the last days. We're on it very much on a need to know basis. We need to know these details. There's a reason why God gave us these prophecies. There's a reason why Yeshua points us back multiple times to the book of Daniel and the visions that Daniel had, the prophecies that Daniel had. There's a reason why. So these are visions, these are prophecies. This is a book that we need to study in great detail. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I encourage you, spend time on this. Go back again, watch the Discerning Daniel video. Again, I will link to it in the description below. And continue to explore these things. We are living in the last days. These things, these prophecies, I believe are literally at our doorstep. And there are very, very important details that the King wants us to understand. With all that said, until next time, shalom.